Couple of things here before we do our little Six with Sal, which we do every Thursday, and we got a very special one coming up later on in the show here. Nick Castellanos seems like he might be available after another Philadelphia team. The Phillies, not really high on Castellanos anymore. Now, look, he's not a stud by any stretch of the imagination, but I always have liked his makeup, and he does play a position of need for the Mets. Now, I'm not saying I would go get Castellanos. Right now, he's under control with Philadelphia, or at least as we record this, he's under control with the Phillies. But they're not going to be able to trade him because nobody's going to take him for the $20 million. I wouldn't think. Maybe the Phillies pay down some of that $20 million before they have to release him. But let's just say, hypothetically, in the event that they release Castellanos, you're telling me he wouldn't be the perfect addition as insurance in case Carson Benj can't cut it in right field? Now, Castellanos isn't very good defensively, but look at the Mets' options right now for right field outside of Benj. And I believe in Benj, and I'm glad that the Mets are giving him opportunity, and I hope Benj takes that opportunity and runs with it. And we don't even have to worry about this. Like, this is all just meaningless preseason babble, talking about spring training and people getting nuts about roster moves and all that stuff in February, when really it won't even matter until July before the deadline, or August, or whatever it may be. But Castellanos, even in a miserable year for him and for Philadelphia, he hit .250, 17 homers, 72 ribbies. That is not bad at all. He played 147 games. Like, that is, you take that in a second. You could argue that he could be a starting right fielder for the Mets or DH a little bit. Now, maybe he'd want to go to a spot. Maybe he wouldn't want to come to the Mets. He'd want to go somewhere where he could be guaranteed more playing time. And if Carson Benj does what, the Mets want him to do or expect him to do, then there's not going to be enough playing time there. But he played 143 games in right field last year. That is he's the perfect guy. A guy who's, going to be 34 this year. What is he right now? He's going to be 34 soon. His birthday's in March. So he'll be 34. He's getting older, obviously a little bit on the decline, his performance, but he's not going to cost you anything. Again, assuming that he gets released, not going to cost you anything. You bring him on your team. You have a veteran presence. It appears for me on the outside that it was always a good guy in the clubhouse. I don't know. Maybe there's actual reporting on that, but he could fit right in, get some at-bats at DH, and in the event that Benj can't hack it, he plays right field. Who would you rather have? Castellanos in right field or MJ Melendez? Or Brett Beatty, who I don't think is going to be playing right field. Beatty was learning left field. Beatty's an infielder turned outfielder learning the position. You put him in left field, seeing if he can learn it out there. So he's not really even an outfielder. Now you're going to have him learn another outfield position, and it is different. It's one thing if you take an outfielder like Soto and move him around from left where he started to right, now back to left. He's an outfielder. He's used to it. He's played both spots. And he's by trade, an outfielder. Beatty by trade is an infielder. When you're taking an infielder and having him learn the outfield, you don't want to be moving him around in different outfield spots. It's not just as simple as that. That doesn't add up. So I think the Mets are going to learn if Beatty can cut it or not in spring training in the outfield. But why even mess around with that when you could maybe go out there and get Castellanos? I don't know if Philadelphia would trade with the Mets, and I don't think the Mets are looking to take on that money from Castellanos at this point. But if he gets cut and you can get him on the cheap, I think that is a perfect add for this situation. And best case is Benj takes the reins and runs with it, and Castellanos is a DH or just a bench player and maybe use him on occasion. And I don't think that that's bad, assuming that he would want it. So a lot of assumptions there. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But when I saw that yesterday with Philadelphia being, kind of fed up with Castellanos, let's see the exact. Remember, Castellanos was benched last year for saying something inappropriate to Rob Thompson after getting taken out of the game. There's bad blood with Philadelphia and Castellanos. So either way, it seems like that relationship is over. They don't. I think did they tell him, Badabooms? You have that exact report? Didn't they tell him to stay home? Like they don't want him to come to spring training?
Well, they told him don't report.
Yeah, they told him don't report. Mm-hmm. So obviously that is coming to an end. It's just a matter of how it's going to come to an end. Philadelphia holding out hope that they can maybe trade him and get something back for him. But the reality is that's going to be unlikely at this point when everybody else knows why would you trade for him when you know you just got to wait this out and they're going to cut him. I would expect that to be the case. So not that I want the Mets to definitively go out there and get him, but that was the one thing I was saying even before the Soto move to left field. If I look at the Mets and say, where's one area of weakness, a mild area of weakness, it would be my concern with not having enough insurance in the event that Benj can't take that full-time job. That was in left field. The same pertains to right field. And now, though, there's a clear right fielder potentially available, Castellanos. He was an all-star in 2023. I mean, that's not too long ago. So I think you could do a lot worse. And the Mets, Beatty, Tyrone Taylor, and MJ Melendez are, in my opinion, worse than Castellanos. That would raise the floor on the insurance policy for Carson Benj.